Chapter 1. In the heart of London, the fog settled thickly over the cobbled streets as Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson sat in their cozy Baker Street apartment. It was a dreary evening when a knock on the door disrupted their quietude. Mrs. Hudson ushered in a distraught Mrs. Peterson, her hands trembling with worry. She pleaded, "Mr. Holmes, please, you must help me. Our family heirloom, the precious diamond necklace, has vanished." Holmes leaned forward, his keen eyes assessing Mrs. Peterson's distress. "Tell us everything," he commanded. Mrs. Peterson recounted the events of the previous evening, when the necklace had last been seen. It had been displayed proudly in their drawing room, but when they returned from the theater, it was gone. Holmes nodded thoughtfully. "Watson, we must visit the scene at once." Arriving at the Petersons' residence, Holmes meticulously examined the room, observing every detail. Suddenly, he exclaimed, "Aha! The window latch is broken, and there are faint traces of mud on the sill." Piecing together the clues, Holmes deduced that the thief had entered through the window. But who could it be? Their investigation led them to an underground gambling den, frequented by notorious criminals. Posing as gamblers, Holmes and Watson mingled among the shady characters, gathering information. It wasn't long before they overheard whispers of a valuable necklace being offered for sale. Holmes sprang into action, devising a plan to catch the thief red-handed. With Watson's assistance, he arranged a fake auction, luring the culprit into their trap. As the auction began, tension hung thick in the air. The room buzzed with anticipation as bids were placed. Suddenly, a shadowy figure emerged, offering the stolen necklace for sale. Holmes seized the moment, revealing his true identity and exposing the thief's nefarious deeds. With the necklace safely returned to its rightful owner, justice prevailed once again in the streets of London. Back at Baker Street, Mrs. Peterson clasped Holmes's hands in gratitude. "You've saved our family's legacy, Mr. Holmes. How can we ever repay you?" Holmes merely smiled, his eyes twinkling with satisfaction. "The thrill of the chase is reward enough, Mrs. Peterson. But if you insist, perhaps a spot of tea would do nicely." And so, another case closed. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson settled back into their routine, ever vigilant for the next mystery that awaited them in the foggy streets of London.